Well, you can't remember the Maine until you've drank it. Hello and welcome to Intoxicated Masculinity. If it's Wednesday, we have a cocktaility coming in. Today we are starting December off right with some rye. All through the month of December we'll be looking at some rye cocktails. Today we are going to look at the Remember the Maine. Before we get into the Remember the Maine, we're going to do something else first, because since we're going to be doing rye cocktails this month, I think it's probably important we decide which rye we're going to use. Alright, so we've done a lot of tasting videos here, even relatively recently with ryes, and we've had some a little bit more expensive ryes. Our rye tasting was ryes that are between like $40 and $60. But I think given these cocktails, I don't think people are going to want to spend $50 or $60 for their mixer rye. So we are going to take two ryes that are very popular. One conveniently from Sazerac Corporation, called Sazerac, and the other from Heaven Hill, which is Rittenhouse Rye. Both very well thought out ryes. I'm going to taste both of these. We're not going to do them blank, so I don't think it's that important for this thing. And I want to see which one I like better, and that will be the one we go with for our rye cocktails going forward this month. So I should say both of these are very similar price point. This is actually a single barrel Rittenhouse that I got locally, but it was about the same price. These are both around $20 to $25 ryes, so very affordable and very good for just making cocktails with. So we're going to start with the Rittenhouse. Pretty rich nose. There's a little bit of astringency on there. This is a little bit younger. This is probably going to be a 4-year-old. Yeah, this is right at 4 years old. So not as old as some of the ryes we tasted during our rye tasting, but again, price point significantly lower as well. The palate, much like the nose, it's got some nice deep flavors there. There is a little bit of astringency though. Let's try our Sazerac. On the nose, the Sazerac has a little bit more warmth and a little bit less astringency. If people are wondering what astringency means, astringency is sort of that nail polish remover kind of smell. And again, it's not overpowering or anything. Rittenhouse Rye is a good rye, but it is there, just a little bit. There may be a little bit of astringency on this one, but it's very, very light. But let's see how it is on the palate. It's sort of a tough competition here. I feel like Rittenhouse has more both of the good and the bad, where the Sazerac comes off a little bit more kind of in the middle. There's not any astringency, but the flavors don't feel quite as deep as they do with the Rittenhouse, I don't feel. Yeah, I think that's right. These are both solid choices. I think I'm going to go with the Rittenhouse though, because I think that little bit of astringency is going to kind of get wiped away in a cocktail, and we're going to be left with those good deep flavors. Where I'm afraid the Sazerac might be just a little bit too mild, might get lost a little bit more. So now, let's talk about our cocktail. Okay, so we're back, and I already got our cocktail ingredients together. So our first rye cocktail of December is going to be the Remember the Maine. It was created by Charles H. Baker Jr. and first appeared in his Gentleman's Companion in 1933. The cocktail is very much kind of a takeoff on a Manhattan, which I've said before on this channel, the Manhattan is not my favorite cocktail. I think it certainly has its place, but I think maybe even for that reason it's good to try some variations to see if it has been improved upon, which I think it probably has. The history of the cocktail again goes back to 1933, and we are going to make it. So, starting off, we are going to add 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, starting off very much looking like a Manhattan. We're then going to take, and this is where the recipes kind of change over time. The original recipe from Charles H. Baker Jr. and the modern recipes are actually fairly similar. But there were some in the sort of middle term where it was actually calling for equal parts of your sweet vermouth and your cherry liqueur, your cherry brandy. I'm going to go closer to the original and closer to what we're doing now. And so I'm just going to add in just a little over 1/4 ounce. Don't want to make this thing too sweet, and I think that should do a good job of it. Finally, our star of the show is going to be our Rittenhouse Rye. So we're going to toss in 2 ounces. Now, we just need to get some ice in our shaker and shake this thing up. All right, let's go ahead and toss it in our shaker and give it a good shake. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, as I sort of started off saying that this was a takeoff on a Manhattan, but it actually kind of is a takeoff on a Sazerac too. It's kind of like the Manhattan and the Sazerac had a baby. So, as we would a Sazerac, we're going to prepare our glass by giving it just 3 good squirts of absinthe. The original recipe actually called for just tossing in like 1/4 ounce or something like that into the drink. I kind of like this a little bit better. It sort of hews a little closer to what I think a Sazerac is, and it's a cocktail I like a lot. So, double strain that into our glass. We are going to toss in 1 large rock. And we're going to find a lemon that still has some juice in it. And get our twist. Express that over the drink. Just nice over the rim. Toss in our twist. And there you have the Remember the Maine. Let's see what we think. That's pretty lovely, actually. It's kind of like last week. You know, I'm doing rye cocktails because I'm thinking of something that's sort of more closely related to the fall and those kind of more spiced kind of flavors. This tastes a lot lighter than that, not in a bad way. The citrus and the absinthe are kind of mixing well on the nose. And the cocktail itself is just kind of nice and bright. Yeah, that's pretty nice actually. This would actually go well as even like a spring cocktail. And on that bombshell, I want to thank everybody for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good drink, and have a good day. So this cocktail was created by